All right, we have what do we have right now? We've got the something globe tournament going on, a 9-hole cup. We just finished the Halloween tournament, and I shot a 30 in my 77 account and came in 27th. Look at that. There was lots of opportunities out there to pick up some shots, but I'll say that I left 2 solid shots on the table, and 32 still would not have got me anywhere. 32 may or may not, depending on tiebreakers, have got me in the top 10. 35's up at the top, 4 of them. Look at that. Look at that. Those are great rounds. It was a fun tournament, but this is a prime example of how balls have changed. There were some of the holes on here that if you brought out the right ball, it was the difference between chipping or putting for eagle or having to hit some shot from distance that may or may not go in. So it was definitely worth it. All right, let me switch accounts here. Going to we'll see how I did in I'll do a rookie. I'll do a rookie one here, and then I'll shoot. I may have to shoot another video to look at these from pro. Come out and do a walkthrough right now. Let's go look at what we have. We have the Globe Series 9-hole cup. Weather warning, plus 50% wind speed on Vineyard Acres. All right, so we're going to have higher winds. Let's check it out. Now, Vineyard Acres. I have played Vineyard Acres a ton of times because Vineyard Acres used to be in Tour 2 and it used to be in Tour 7. And I played Tour 7 for, there were several years where this course was in Tour 7 and I played my 77 account. That's the only tour that unless I was out practicing shooting video on one of the other tours, I played Tour 7, and I really like this course. They have changed a few things. This hole right here is not like it was originally. Pretty much from here back to the tee box, it's pretty close to the same, but this stuff up here is different. This green used to be like this, and it was a monster green. And the pin was in the back, and it was difficult to get there. It was difficult at the time to get there because, I had like a level 6, level 7 extra mile. But with the stuff that we have out there today as far as ball inventory, this hole is definitely opened up. Now, let's think about our drive shot. We want to get right here. I'm not necessarily interested in getting on the green. This is one of those greens that it doesn't look like it's very big, and you can be over here on the fringe and trying to make the putt, and it can be a max overpower putt. I think from this green, I think this is when they redesigned this is one of those greens that from anywhere on the green, you can get to the hole. But there's a lot of those shots that are going to be max overpower putts. And so I really don't want to get on the green. I want to get off. And usually, like right here is where I end up. If you really want to go for the cup, okay, for those of you that really want to go for the hole-in-one, you can get the run here. So if we draw a line straight to the flag box, and obviously you're going to have to come over on this kind of arc. I think if you bring out the right ball, you can actually get over to the other side so that your first bounce is over here. If you don't have, maybe you don't have that one. What I would think about doing is bringing out a big topper and hitting off, because you're going to have to pull back. It's not going to have the distance. But if you're going to hit from this side over here, a big topper would work. But if you've got the inventory of stuff to get over to the other side, that's even better. I'm not sure if you bring out a bigger power ball, like a power 5 ball, whether or not you can get to here without doing overpower and you can just take a straight up shot. I can't remember on that, but I think that might be possible. And we want to definitely so from here it's all uphill, and I like to bring it around so that instead of what you can do is try and get down into this finger or this finger right here. So you're here and then you're trying to bring it around. You got to really be careful of this sand trap and the rough right here. And this area right here, while it seems like it's way the hell off, if you're actually trying to go for the cup, everything's kind of sloping down to this. So as the ball's rolling, trying to come to its terminal spot, and it's slowing down, as it's slowing down, it's getting picked up by the brake, and it will try and suck it to the right. I want to keep my ball out in this area, and so I'm in the clear the whole time. So I'm going to try and start my shot off if I'm over here. It'll depend on how my curl is going, but I definitely want to be on the outside here and not necessarily go for the cup. You got to remember the goal here is eagle, not hole-in-one. It is possible to go for a hole-in-one, but there's some risks involved with it, and you may drop your eagle just trying to go for the hole-in-one. That's a good hole, though. That's a good hole. Hole number 2. Now, I'm not going to go into any of these holes this week with any preconceptions on what we're going to do for adjustments. I'm going to start off, I'm going to force myself, no matter how many times I've played these holes, I'm going to force myself to start off with just a +0. I want to know what the wind is. The wind's 5.4 and my club's 1.7, so it's 5.4 divided by 1.7, and whatever that is, that's how many rings I'm going to move it. And I want to find out whether I need to add on or take off any wind. Because after the last tournament, they're changing that stuff around, and I don't want to go in with any preconceptions. Let's just start at 0 and work from there. It's super important if you're doing that we got to hit perfect so we can get some reads and start to dial our shots in. But this is a pretty straight up shot. I see a lot of people taking it from up here. I actually like to get way back in this range and run it up to it, so that I'm like maybe 3 rings off of this transitional surface. There's ways that you can go. That is we have a great opportunity for hole-in-one on that hole. A great opportunity. From any division, rookie or pro, if we're playing that. All right, this hole right here. On the drive, you can, if you can, lay it up right here and go for the shot, and there's a rough bump. There are several ways that you can go at it. You can do the rough bump, or it's got a big backboard on it, and you can try and backspin it and bring it back down to the cup. There's not enough room in the front for you to try and like go at it and just put a little bit of backspin and try and run it up to the cup. There's not enough room. So if you're going to go at it from distance, you probably will need a club with backspin if you're hitting from out here. Ideally, you want to get over into this spot so you have a short iron shot straight to the cup. You can, if you bring the right stuff and the wind's going right, you can try and get from the tee box. See if we can get it all in one picture. You can try and get from the tee box down here up through this gap and either get on the green or right in this area, so you got a short chip. I will tell you that chip from right there is not as easy as you would think it would be being that close, because it's side hill. It's all jacked up in there. But you do have a shot that you could get down there. Anywhere out in this area right here, this little indentation is you're going to have a great shot. Great shot. Short iron, possibly wedge, depending on how far you can get in there. Usually I'm right at the spot where I'm at minimum short iron, maximum wedge. And you can do this with, depending on your clubs, just a 3-power ball. And I like the 3 side spins so that you can set up in here and you can just do a max curl shot and just try and bring yourself out into the zone. You don't have to bring out anything special, but if you've got a lot of inventory, this might be a hole that you could work yourself up into this zone and have that short little chip, and it might increase your odds big time. This hole right here, we definitely have an Albie shot on. I remember in a tournament I played one time, I came out here and I was in the absolute perfect spot. I'd been hitting Albies on this hole that week. My adjustment was prime. I'm ready to roll. My opponent came out and ended up in the drink and forfeited, and I ended up getting an eagle and didn't get to take my Albie shot. I was really pissed off because it's like, fuck, I've been making Albies all week. Dang it. We do have a serious albatross shot on this hole. Serious. In the past, it seems like there was an adjustment to the cup, but I'm not going to make any predictions on what those are going to be. I want to go out there and play them. This island hole has been completely redesigned. This hole used to be that when you played it, you really wanted to have a guardian, but now it's very playable for everybody. If I remember correctly, I've played the old hole more times than I played this hole by about 300 or 400. I think I like to put with a sniper, I like to put my ball guide right on the fringe, and I think it's like 3 backspin or something. It's not it, and I don't know that there's any side spin really that you need on it. But I like to start off on the fringe, and I have made with this new configuration. I have made quite a few hole-in-ones on this, and when I do the practice round, the spot will become immediately evident on where it is. But I do believe I start off on the fringe. I do believe. Maybe. I could be wrong. I probably am. All right, now this hole right here. Okay. This is a tough... Some of these holes have had their teeth pulled just a titch because of the ball inventory that's out there. Now, if you bring out a 3 power ball and you're out in this area right here, it's still, to get to the cup, it's quite the distance. I mean, even if you're in the perfect spot out here with a 3 power ball, if you're in the absolute perfect spot, let's break this into quadrants. And if you were in this quadrant 1, quadrant 2, if you're in quadrant 1, you might, with a 3 power ball, have the stuff out here to just be in your sniper range. But usually when we play out here, you want to bring a big dog, and I've made a bunch of albies with a big dog on this hole. It's definitely possible. Cataclysm, something with more oomph to get you up here. You could bring a Horizon. It's got good ball guide. It's not very accurate, so just hit perfect. But getting down in here could be a little bit of a trick. And if you're on this plane where you didn't get far enough, and you're in here, you're definitely gonna be glad that you brought a big dog or a Cataclysm if you're in that area. But with some of the newer inventory that's out there, and if you've got upper developed clubs, either or, you could have like mid developed clubs, and some of the new ball inventory could help you get over into this range. Or if you've got upper developed clubs, you might just be able to get over there without the bigger ball, or both. But it is definitely possible to get over here. The deal about that is that if you get over here and you fail in this rough, you can recover from there. Whereas if you fail anywhere on this shot, like if you're taking the shot trying to come out to the end down here, and you fail anywhere in here, you're going to be laying it up to the end and then trying to chip it on from distance to recover. I'm going to have to look at this hole. This is one of those holes that I've played it a certain way, and where we've played out to here and then take the shot coming into the cup, and but I'm gonna look at this hole. The last time we played it, Dunner was playing to this shot out here, and I think he got it about 50% of the time. And then I was playing out to the end down here trying to but I do kind of like the idea of getting over here. You know, with some of those topspin boost balls, if you could start off in this area and just hit a straight shot, even if you're just kind of rough bumping it out right here and just trying to bleed it out and not trying to get greedy, that's still a better shot than it is from out here. From here, you could definitely do the rough bump to the cup, and from here you usually have to bounce off of this in order to get to it. You may do a second bounce rough bump, but the first bounce rough bump is not in play. But if you hit over to this side, we could have a shot. I'm going to explore this, because the deal is you have to respect, regardless of what you have in your bag, you still have to think about, like, you look at a hole like this and you go, okay, this isn't a great Albi opportunity, but we do have a serious Albi opportunity. But if people are bringing out big stuff and they're hitting over to here, and they're hitting it with a freaking minimum long iron or short iron, and you're out here hitting it with a wood and you still can't get there, obviously they're going to make more shots than you are. We have to at least look at it like that. I am going to this week look to see what it'll take to get over here with the new ball inventories that we have. and keep this shot in my bag. So if I can't work it out, then I could do this. And we may have certain wind days that like that shot's no longer in play. You have to hit out here. So you need to know how to do this shot. To get to that area is pretty simple. Well, I say it's pretty simple. It is not pretty simple. You're going through, so you got to move over in order to avoid this, and that puts your shot here, but you need your shot to be over to the right. And so bringing out a big enough ball and a rookie, if you bring out a 3-power ball, I think you can get your red lines in front of this, so you're starting off here, and it gives you the full breadth of the fairway. Coming off, you're going to be facing this direction, and your bounce is in here, so you need to cut this angle to get out to this spot. I believe with an extra mile, it wasn't a lot. It was like maybe with a 3-power ball, it was like maybe 3 topspin or something. It wasn't a lot of spin, and it is way more important. You do want to try and get as much distance as you can down here, but it's more important to be in the fairway than it is to pick up that extra yard and end up in the rough. I love that. That hole does have opportunities on it to get albies, and as tough as it is, I have hit a lot of albies on that hole. All right. This hole for me is a QB and a sniper. Now, I like to hit to right here. So that gives me a straight up, and depending on, and you can bring a katana on this hole. This is one of the things I like about it too. You can bring a katana. And from here, on the sniper shot, I'm either in mid or min. If I get all the way to the top of this, I'm usually like really close to min club. And if I'm just a little bit down the hill, it's more on the mid. But you have a beautiful shot from there. It's one tournament I came out here and I got the adjustment right, and it was like I was at minimum club doing a max adjust. I can't remember what I did on that particular tournament, but they were just like going in. But this is definitely a makeable shot, and it takes hardly any effort at all to get to here. If you're hitting to the top of the hill, the one thing I will say is if the wind's blowing on days where you have to, if the wind's blowing from any of these directions where you have to spin it around and then you're pulling the wind out, these trees will be in your way. So if the wind's blowing from the right, when you go to adjust for the wind, you're going to have to push the wind out. You'll have to look at it from the other side and push the wind out, because you won't be able to get to it from the trees. Just don't even waste the time and try it. It'll save you the second or two frustration. But anytime the wind's blowing from the right, you'll have to push the wind out instead of pulling it out. The other way you can go for it is you can try and get down into this zone. Now, if you can get down in here, and even if you fail down here on the bottom, you can recover. If you fail up here, you're okay. You might, if the wind was blowing in your direction and you did a max overpower shot, you might be able to bounce out of this rough and get on that. Maybe, just if you were in the front. But if you were back here on the backside, you're screwed. You're laying it up down here at the bottom, and you got a shitty recovery shot. But you're going to see a lot of people going for this area down here, and I will say that about half the people I see go for the area down on the bottom end up in the rough, and the other half end up in the fairway. And it is a much trickier shot to get down there than it is to just hit it up in here and you have a straight up shot. You can look at it with your clubs and your ball inventory and see what it would take to get down in here. If you think about trajectory, this anywhere along this line, you got a straight up shot. Anywhere on this side of the line where you're over here, when you're coming into it, you're going to have more left-hand spin. So if you're just trying to lay it up into this area here, I would think katana, kingmaker, if that's what it took to help get you over there, but more of a 3-side spin ball. If your ultimate goal is right in this area, I'd still bring a 3-side spin ball. So if shit went sideways, you still got 3-side spin. We've got a great opportunity on this hole. I'm not interested in getting down here. I really feel like this shot right here is money. We just have to get our adjustment down. And I'm not sure that yeah, I'm in a different club here, and it may be shorter. It's not going as fast in it, but I think my shot's just as good from here. Just as good, at least me. But I am going to look at it because I've seen in this hole, in Expert, and I've tried it several times, and I don't know that I made it. But I ended up in the rough right here, and I didn't quite make it to the finger. But I've seen people in Expert get over to the other side and won, where you can use the wind and you can really get the flow and get over there. So it is, you're going to see people do it. And with the ball inventory that we have and some of these special balls and some of the stuff, it's beneficial to look at them and see what we can do. Like maybe there's a max overpower hook shot here we can do with a 5 power or 4 topspin boost ball, and we might be able to get over. Who knows? Who knows? This is where practicing with Dunner comes in really handy, because we can go out there and really take a look at it and try and figure out what's possible. There are, excuse me. There are several ways to play this hole. There's a spot right down here. I like to bounce from here where I get bounce number 1, bounce number 2 on the fringe, and then it's rolling out, or bounce number 2 right up in this area. I see a lot of people come in here. I have seen several people try to do some kind of a rough bump here, but this is not an area to do a rough bump. It's up a freaking hill. It's on a freaking curve. No. You can come over here and try and do backspin and try and stick it to the cup. And I've done that several times on this hole with several different clubs. And the deal is that those shots always look awesome when they go in, but it's better with this hole if you can just run it up there. And it doesn't take a lot of spin from right here, a couple spin to get it to go to the hole. Just dribble it up. That's what I like to do. We will see. We'll see how that play. We'll see how these holes play out, because these at least the par 3s. Well, I'm going to say all of the approach shots are suspect, because last week we were playing holes that we played for a long, long time and had solid adjustments on, and those adjustments did not work anymore. We were doing minuses where we were doing pluses, and we were doing pluses, big pluses, where we weren't doing hardly anything before. And so I don't want to go in with any preconceptions, because it'll just screw me up. I want to play the first round I play on this, I want to just play at 0. Let's just see where we're at. But that hole is an awesome hole for getting hole in one. All right. This hole was hole number 9 in a tournament, and I got an eagle on it, and it was the only reason I won that tournament. And this is not an easy hole to get an eagle on. Now, you can get around the corner and try and get down into this area, and there are several ways that you can go at it. I'm going to try and get down into this area. I don't necessarily need to get like all the way down in here, but I do want to get somewhere in this zone, and I'm going to do the rough bump. And if the rough bump, for whatever reason, like if I hit myself too far, or if I hit myself too short, or if something happens, your fault, my fault, nobody's fault. If the wind's blowing such that I have to pull over the sand, on those days I'm going to bag the rough bump, and I'm going to do the backspin shot using the backboard. In this hole, in one-on-one play, I see a lot of people screw up on this hole, and it blows me away. And here's what I see them do. This hole, okay, everything over here. Let's get you all in the picture. Everything over here is flowing down. And so when you're hitting up here along the top, okay, normally, for those of you that watch my videos on a regular basis, you know, normally I like to be 2 rings of separation off of any transitional surface. But if I'm doing a max curl shot, where I'm trying to bring it over, max curling it to the right, I usually like to give myself 3 rings of separation. But on this hole, I will cheat and give myself 2.5. 2.5 rings away from that transitional surface. Take the wind out. Plus, if we're adding anything on, and then a max curl shot coming around the bend. I don't think with my, maybe with my quarterback, I'd use all the top spin. Definitely want to bring a 3 side spin ball like a Katana or a Kingmaker, and the ball is not necessarily going to be determined on the drive. The ball is going to be determined once you get to this shot, and you're going to find out where your red lines are at. So if there is a red line issue, you'll have to either go up or down in order to change it. So usually from here, I'm 2.5 rings off of this transitional surface. I adjust the wind out max curl, and we'll have to work on our topspin to see how much topspin it'll take. Because I don't think that I can get, unless I brought out like a bigger than 3 side spin ball, I don't think I can get this kind of run. I think what happens is it tails off here and you take the risk of rolling off into the rough in this area. But we have a shot here. And I have made a lot of eagles on this hole. This is a makeable hole, and that rough bump is definitely a thing of beauty. It's freaking narrow. And it really works best when the wind's blowing, you know, so you can pull away from that sand. You do not want to have to go down the hill on that shot. This is a tough eagle, but this hole is definitely eagleable. Now, here's the thing I see people do wrong in one-on-one. In one-on-one, we have smaller balls, so we only get about this far. Or they're down into this area right here, and they don't have enough club to get themselves to the rough bump or to get up here on the green to try and do the deal. And it's like they have this mental thing and they're only seeing like that's all they can see. Like there's some optical illusion and they can't see that spot over there. If you hit the ball over to here, there is a massive ass backboard. That if you can catch that backboard, it'll roll you and it'll funnel you out right down by the green. And it's hard to actually hit to screw the shot up to the point where you actually, like, here's the backboard and you actually come in and actually end up going over the backboard and end up on the other side. That is kind of hard. That backboard's so big. So if you're ever stuck out in this area and you're looking at it, you're like, I can't get there. And then they force the issue and they end up in the rough or the sand. It's like, look to the right. There's a freaking fairway over there with a backboard. It always amazes me that nobody looks that direction. I like this hole. It's a tough hole, but it's definitely makeable. All right, this hole right here. It's funny to see the changes that they've made. Now, this hole, as far as course-wise, is pretty close to what it was originally, but there used to be a line of trees over here. And this area was I think this area was a little bit different. It was scooted up this way a little bit more, and there was a line of trees on this side. So if you were trying to come from here, if you got too far out here in the rough, there might be trees in your way. You know, you could get behind them. There was issues with it. And then if you were down here and then you wanted to try and get up into the deal, you had to get around the trees. It was a little different. Some people, Tommy's original way to play this was to play to right here. And then you play up to here. And then you can play from there to there. And that is, in one-on-one play, a lot of times if I get out here and the wind's blowing wrong, or if I can't get myself going in this direction, I will put myself here and max curl it and try and dig myself up into that. Because what it does is it gives you a clean window to the cup where these trees aren't in play. And pretty much everything out in this area, those trees are in play, so you can hit yourself above it. And it gives you a nice clean shot. Sometimes you can just do the one going forward, or you can get out into this area. But most people are going to hit to here. And you can do this with a 3 power ball, and if you got a big dog and a cataclysm. Now, if we have a big headwind day, it's the bigger ball is not going to hurt you or help you on the drive. You'll have to set it up for that ball because every ball is going to be a little different. But where the bigger ball is going to help you is on the second shot. Because if we were dealing with headwind, trying to get into this shadow right here, up in this corner, so you got that nice clean short iron shot to the cup. Getting through this gap, if you've got, you're going to need a big club, the biggest wood that you have, because you're just laying it up. Now there is another way that you can go, because this hole right here is a birdie hole, and there's an eagle opportunity. The other way that you can go is you can come down if the wind's blowing right, you got the right clubs, you got the right ball. You can come down and try and get a bounce from here and get over to the other side and end up in this zone. Now, this is one of those things about watch out what you wish for. Because if you end up in this zone and you're like, yeah, I made it. Now what are you going to do? Because I've been down in here and I can tell you, what I was looking at coming down here trying to get around this bend, like I could get up into this zone fairly easy, but I had the club to get to the... At the time I was trying this, I think I only had available to me, I might not have been using and you need topspin, so it's like you want more side spin, and you need topspin, you need curl, you need the stuff to get around. I was trying to do a max overpower hook shot with my big dog, and I was having to pull it out over by the sand. I can't remember the exact spot, and then trying to do a max overpower hook shot, and I was able to in practice get out to this spot like 4 or 5 times, and I did finally get one of the max overpower hook shots with my big dog to get over. But it just depends on the clubs that you have and how much curl and what balls you bring. But this second shot is probably tougher than the first shot, but it could get you on it too. And getting off to just right in here, we can do that no fuss, no muss, just by hitting here and then just driving it up to that range. And this could be a situation where a topspin boost ball comes in handy because you're not using it on the first shot, but the second shot, it could really get you up in there. You can overshoot that, so just depending on your clubs, you know, you may or may not have to use something like that. This is a great hole. This hole right here is tough. I would actually like it if they make more holes in the game like this, where instead of it being we have an Albie it's an eagle hole with an Albie opportunity. It's a birdie hole with an eagle opportunity. Because this hole right here, there are several holes in the game that are like this, that are pretty tough. You really have to put your ball in the right spot on the drive. I may go for over here a couple times just so that I can re-explore this second shot with different clubs, because I'm sure at the time that was a few years ago when I was trying that. I didn't have an APOC that's got curl, and see what I could do now versus what I was able to do now. Well, I won't be able to use an APOC, so it'll still be, I've got a Cataclysm now. It does have about the same as my big dog, so I'm not sure if it's going to be any easier on the other side. All right, there you go. That was a walkthrough. Got a scouting report. We got a chance to look at them. I would seriously think about going into the week with no preconceptions as far as like shots to the cup. Start off at 0 and see whether or not we need to take off or add on wind, or if there's any adjustment needed at all, because and especially if the winds are going to be blowing a little bit higher, it'll give us a good opportunity to look at it. All right, thanks for watching. I might later on today try and shoot a practice round with 77 and aught. We'll see. Here, hold on one second. All right, I had to log in my aught account, see where we finished up the tournament. So I came in second in that Halloween tournament, and I shot a 27 in the opening round, and they shot a 28. That was the difference. I had them on all the other tiebreakers, but they got me with the opening round. Oh, man, that feels good. Woo! It was a good round, though. I had a lot of fun playing it, but and there was a couple. I did leave a couple out there that were like right there, and I left hole number 18 right on the lip of the cup. I had ran all the topspin that I had. What I needed to do is change my position in the rough. All right, second. 2 is just as bad as 1. 1's better. Second place. Getting some big tapas, Inbringers, Amazons. I'll take those big toppers out. I would have rather had an Apocalypse here, but we're not going to get that pro because we're not going to get any Tour 7 cards. So Cataclysm. No, that's still a Tour 7. Thor's Hammer. All right, that was the walkthrough. You're getting bonus content here, just as I'm cleaning it up. I will see you guys on the next one. I may pray. I'm gonna try and play some practice rounds today. At least get one good round in. Unable to connect to the clan server. All right, there you go. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one. If you're not a subscriber, hit subscribe, hit the like button, ring the bell, leave a comment, all that good stuff. It all helps out, and I appreciate it.